So let's talk about that a little bit, because one thing that people, will often say when it comes to, whatever we're talking about with chronic disease, whether it's diabetes or cancer or high blood pressure or, fill in the blank, is, well, it's hereditary. This is my genetic code, and I'm predetermined to be afflicted with whatever the thing is. Do you buy that?
So let's nuance that a little bit.
Okay.
So there are a very, very small number of diseases that are genetically predetermined. Sickle cell disease, cystic fibrosis, but most others are not. So you may have genetics that increase your risk for acquiring a chronic illness, but it does not predetermine your risk. So obesity is one. We've looked at obesity, and maybe 60% of people have sort of a genetic predisposition, but it doesn't mean it has to happen. It means that when exposures to certain things in our food system or environment are more likely to trigger weight gain than someone who doesn't have those genetic alterations. There were actually survival advantages to those in the past. When we were hunter-gatherers, when we didn't have a constant food supply, it was actually a survival advantage to put on fat better than other people.
Yeah.
But now it's a survival disadvantage in our current society.
Right.
So no, very few diseases are genetically predetermined.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then we're back to the exposome
Yeah.
to all of these things that are leading us down the path to those diseases and disorders and other things. So I always think about, this is really distilling it down, but I think about my dad as sort of a little test case in my mind for weight loss specifically, when you mention obesity. When I was a freshman in college, he did just two things. He started walking every morning with my mom, and he stopped drinking beer. And he lost 50 pounds. So I know that's really simplistic.
Yeah.
You added this thing, you took out this thing, but are we making it too complicated for people? I hear from people all the time. They're like, oh, you're a fitness instructor. I'm so confused. I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. There are all these classes and all these modalities and blah, 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 and I don't understand it. People are the same way about food. Should I do keto? Should I be vegan?
Yeah,
Should I do this diet or that diet?
We have made it way too complicated. And why is that? Because we're always trying to sell something, right? We're trying to sell you a gym membership. Do you need a gym membership? No. I ask my patients, I say, why don't let's try and get some movement and exercise. Well, I can't afford a gym membership. I said, do you have tennis shoes? Yeah, I got tennis shoes. Do you have a front door? Yeah, got a front door. Does it open? Yeah, it opens. You're good to go.
Yeah.
Just go walk, particularly in nature. It's very different than exercising and moving in a gym.
Yeah.
So we've made it extraordinarily complicated because we're trying to sell potions and powders and, you got to have keto this or vegan that. And as human beings, I think if you look at, and I've looked at sort of diets in many, many different aspects, macronutrient-wise, nutrient-wise, cultural-wise, and I always go back to, what did our ancient ancestors eat? And what did they eat? They were omnivores, okay? Yes, there were some societies that ate mostly plants. There were many societies that ate mostly animals, but most of us ate a combination of the two.
Yeah.
And we're really adapted to do that. And so I look at, okay, how did our ancestors eat? They ate some animal products, they ate a lot of plant products, but here's the key. They ate those products as close to the whole in nature as possible.
They weren't processed.
They didn't process them. They didn't add chemicals to them.